In March, I helped one of my kitchen and bathroom remodeling partners with adding $297,000 in revenue, with 47 proposals sent and $859,000 in proposal value, which means this number would probably go way higher with the amount of money that is still out in proposals as the sales cycle is a bit longer. But, anyways, this was all generated from $8,000 in ad spend with 15 closed deals. And in this video, I'm just going to break down how you can do this for your remodeling business. So the first thing is like the acquisition platform that was being used for generating these results. And right now, what I've found the best success with across all of my partners that I work with is running meta ads. The reason for that is it's predictable and is also scalable because the criteria for a good advertising platform is that you can reach all of the people that are on there. And compared to Google, where you're kind of like relying on how many people are searching for a certain word, here you're actually just pushing these videos in front of people by paying ad spend. And thereby, if you know that the system works at a small scale, it's just about bumping more money into it and then you get more out in return. That number one means that if you know every time, for instance, you spend $1,500 on ads, for instance, you get a job, you can just spend that amount every month and you know you'll get a certain amount of appointments and a certain amount of jobs every month from doing that. And at the same time, you can also predictably then scale. So you can keep your team busy, keep your sales reps calendars full, and make sure you always have work. So that's the first thing. The other thing is also that it's like a platform that requires some more skill in terms of advertising, in terms of the messages that you're putting out there, because you're competing with other companies for the eyeballs. And that means that your offer is going to dictate how many people you're going to get in front of and how many people are actually signing up for your ads, which means you have some more like control. Because if your video sucks, if your offer sucks, you just got not going to get that many people that are going to sign up for the ads. I'll get more into the offer, but before I go into that, I'll just talk a bit about targeting. That's also one thing that is a huge pro with Facebook. You can just specifically, determine who you would like to target. And the scary thing is Facebook has like 12,000 data points on every person on the platform. That is extremely scary, but you can use it to your advantage. So one thing you can do is you can basically advertise based on their age range. And obviously, when it's like, for instance, kitchen and bathrooms, it should be people that have some money saved up. And therefore, I recommend starting with people that are 35 and above. So you make sure they have the money. That's the age. Then we have more so like the demographic area. And here I would use like a platform like Manus AI or ChatGPT. Basically pull in your areas that you cover and then ask it to generate you a zip code list based on your price ranges so you can find people that can actually afford your services. If you're doing high ticket, go for high end zip codes. If you can accommodate a wide variety of people, then I would do more broad and just filter out the zip codes that are low income. In terms of the offer, what I've found the best success with is basically running videos instead of images. I've seen a lot of companies are running these like generic before and after images, and it just doesn't work that well because everyone can throw up an image of a before and after. There's no incentive for the homeowner to take the action. So what you can do in a video instead is you can present the offer and you can present some criteria for being eligible for this offer, which builds some urgency, but also puts you in a category of one. From there, when they have seen the video, there's two ways you can go. Either you can keep them inside the Facebook platform and then they fill out a lead form. On the lead form, you're then going to ask them qualifying questions that you could have asked on the phone. The thing here is you don't want to get too aggressive by like asking budget up front because that could just come off a bit too aggressive and you want to find the sweet spot for getting volume but also getting quality. So what I would recommend doing here with the lead forms is I would ask, what are they looking to get done? When are they looking to get started? And then also asking like how they're planning to pay this. Is it like through financing? Is it cash? So you kind of have that in mind. And the thing from here is then looking at your metrics within the system. So first you have your cost per lead. The next thing then is your schedule rate. How many of these leads, amount of leads, cost per lead, schedule rate, how many of these leads are then actually booking into appointments. So that is appointments booked. And then you have cost per qualified booked appointment. If you, for instance, are getting a lot of leads, but you aren't getting a lot of appointments booked, that means your schedule rate is low. And then you need to know exactly how to overcome these different constraints. So it is actually pretty self-explanatory. If you are getting a lot of leads, but they aren't converting, it means the quality is not good. So how can you get more quality? You can make it harder for people to sign up through the ad. And there's a couple of ways you can do that. One of them is changing the question, what are you looking to get done, to a short answer. What I mean by that is when I start out with running the ads, I always make them just select, what are you looking to get done? My bathroom, my kitchen, both. But what you can do is you can change it so they need to manually enter exactly what they're looking to get done, which means there's a lot more thought, put into their submission, which increase the quality. You can also, for instance, like add phone verification. That can also help. And then the other thing you can do is you can create a landing page. So a landing page is essentially a page where it's like saying schedule your free consultation, and then there's a survey which they can fill out with their information, and that just also increases the lead quality because you are there's some more thought put into it when they go off the platform and then fill it in. So that's another lever that you can pull if you aren't seeing the results you want with the lead forms. From there, you're getting into the booking side of things. So there are two ways you can go here, or you should go both ways. The first thing is self-booking. So once they have entered their information, they've answered the questions, they fill in their name, email, and phone number, it's saying, wait, one last step. Schedule your free consultation now to get maybe $1,000 off, for instance, just to have some kind of incentive for them to sign up. They click on the button, they go directly to a calendar page, which is synced with your team's availability, and then they can schedule their appointment themselves. The thing that is important here is that you ask all of the qualifying questions you would have asked over the phone in this funnel. The reason for that is to maintain the quality of the bookings that you're getting in, so your team aren't wasting time going out to appointments with unqualified leads, and that is obviously a high opportunity cost target to that. So what you can ask here is, first name, last name, email. You can ask them, are you the homeowner? Our projects are ranging from X to Y for these specific services. Is that, or are you comfortable with that budget? Yes or no? Then you can have, some kind of disclaimers at the bottom that you need to set aside 60 to 90 minutes for the appointment, and that all decision makers or all people involved in the decision need to be present for the appointment. So all of the questions you would have been asking normally over the phone, you just put into that calendar. The other way, which is what will happen the majority of the time, is that 5 to 15% will only like self-book themselves. The rest of them, you need to have your team call them, or in our company, we call on behalf of our clients. And yeah, then you call within 2 minutes. You call you call 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. So you can always make sure you get a hold of them within 2 minutes, as there's a 400% higher chance they will book an appointment if that's done. When you then get on the phone with them, you qualify them, or we qualify them based on scope, budget, time frame, and make sure that the decision makers are present for the appointments, and then we just schedule it directly into your team's calendar. From there, now where they have booked an appointment, they're going to a thank you page. And this step is really important because these people, they have just seen you from Facebook. You need to kind of build that trust with them. So here we're going to implement a video. And this video is going to talk about what to expect from their consultation. Having a woman in the video, or a man, whatever, that is talking about your process, that you are going to listen to the vision. And this is not like some kind of, high pressure sales conversation. It's a conversation about how we can help you create your green space, all of this, so they feel comfortable with you driving out to their home. And then the next thing is also the nurture and other videos on this page. So on this page, you're also going to have a lot of videos under, which are going to overcome the main objections that people may have. One of the videos you could create, for instance, could be like a video talking about your process, and that video could overcome the objection of people having heard all of these horror stories with contractors where projects are turning into weeks of disruption and all of these surprise costs coming up. That are objections you can overcome in these videos. From there, you're going to nurture them through text messages and emails, educating them about your business, maybe having like an email telling them about your story, your team, your vision, projects that you have done in the past. Basically, the idea here is to first get them to confirm the appointment again through text, but to nurture them and to educate them about your business. Because then, when your sales reps are showing up to the appointments, they already know, like, and trust them, which means it can become an objection-less close. And that's pretty much the system for taking a lead and getting them turned into a closed job. And that's exactly how we have been able to generate $297,000 for this one partner. And something that I've heard over and over again is that Facebook ads don't work. But that's not true. Obviously, it works. You can see it works. It's the driver of the vehicle, because you can see there's so many components within this system that can go wrong. And if that's not done correctly, then obviously you are not going to get success with the advertising. If the targeting is off, you're just targeting broad, then Facebook are going to put the ads in front of people that are the cheapest leads, which are the ones that are just shopping around in the areas where people don't have money. The offer, if your offer sucks, people don't care about it. They're not going to sign up. There needs to be an incentive. People are selfish. They're asking, what's in it for me? Next thing is, if you just run like lead forms that are too easy to sign up for and you're generating crappy leads, then you're not going to get success either. And this is probably the biggest one. I've seen so many companies that are just running these lead forms then, and then what happens then when you get the lead? No one is calling. Maybe they're calling like 1 hour after or 24 hours after. If you're not on top of this, then yes, it's definitely not going to work. But with like $50 a day in ad budget, for instance, one job closed is going to be the main difference between you being extremely profitable with the system and you being unprofitable. So that's why all of these components within the system needs to be dialed in, because otherwise your competitors are implementing these things and they're winning over you, which means they can double down while you need to stop your advertising from running. So this is how we have seen companies being able to go from like 1 to 5 million all the way up to 10 to 20 to 30. And if you want my team to have a look at your whole process, your marketing system, then feel free to click the button below and schedule a free consultation, and then we will audit your marketing setup. Have a good one. Bye bye.